I'm back again. A different topic today, though. As you can see from the title, I want to touch on really like the fear tactics that the devil uses to essentially keep us in bondage, keep us from becoming the person who we're really meant to be on this earth. So let's dive just straight into it. So this is still from Outwitting the Devil. Um, all this what I've written on this board here is come from the book. Um, so the devil essentially says that these are his most effective fears: so poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, and old age. And when you dive deeper into each one of these, you can really see how it can be very effective on keeping a chain on your mind when you really go and dive deep into each one of them. But I'm not going to go into each one of them. I'm going to go into the ones that the devil essentially said is most effective for him, which is poverty and death. And when you're living in poverty, it essentially stops abundance. It induces fear and it discourages independent thought. So you cannot think for yourselves when you're living in poverty. You are just trying to survive. You're not thinking about how you want to create. And that's the thing about when you're living in poverty. God has put us on earth as God has put us on earth to be creators. And when we're thinking about how we're going to pay the bills, how we're going to eat today, how we're going to eat tomorrow, all that energy is going towards that. We don't have energy to think, how am I going to make the world a better place? Or even not just make the world a better place, but how am I going to create something that's going to benefit other people's lives? You can't think about that because you're living in poverty. That's you ain't got enough mental energy for that. So it really makes sense why poverty is a huge fear that serves the devil. Um, yeah, but I feel like fears in general just it's a negative. If we fear, it's just not beneficial to us or anyone else around us. So, and he also touched on how death is also one of the fears which serve him the most. And he really touched on a good point here. He said we can only be punished in the mind through fear. And he then went on to say, fear of nothing is is similar or essentially equal to fear of something. So what I mean by this little section here, so Napoleon Hill, what the devil essentially said that he's not real himself. That's what he essentially said. He's not real. Let me correct myself. He didn't say I'm not real, but he said punishment after death is not real. So you're essentially fearing that when you haven't seen it yet. So you're essentially fearing nothing. And that fear, you're still fearing something, essentially, but that is nothing. And it's essentially the equal to fearing something, which is a kind of that this part here kind of resonated with me. Um, and I feel like we get that on a daily basis. It doesn't have to essentially be about the devil. It can be about something as simple as let's say, what fear can I come up with? Um, I don't know. But we have a lot of things that go through our mind and fears. Or let's say fear of rejection. So you want to go and walk up to a girl, let's say that you find as attractive, and you feel like you're gonna get shut down. But that's just a fear that you have. That's not the truth. You might go to the girl, she might be attracted to you, but because you're fearing that thing, it's equal to the fear of something. So that fear is actually real to you when it's just an illusion. At the end of the day, it's just an illusion. So yeah, this part was really something that stuck with me from this little note taking. And one thing Napoleon Hill also touched on is that fear is control, and it really is, because it stops you from doing what's beneficial to yourself, and it causes you to do what's not beneficial If you get what I mean. So you lack independent thought. You're not thinking for yourself. The fear is essentially you're making fear-based emotional decisions when you're living in fear. And that's how the devil controls our mind, and then from that controls our destiny and reality, because we're not thinking independently. That's why Napoleon Hill says in the book many times that, or the devil says in the book many times, that a person who thinks independently is his worst enemy, enemy or something. But yeah, his worst enemy. Um, and that makes a lot of sense, because if you're someone who thinks independently, you won't fall victim to all these fear tactics that the devil tries to impose on us, because you're essentially watching all these thoughts. You're self-aware. You're aware of what's going on. You're more of a watcher rather than just a drifter, like I touched on in the last video. Yeah, I even mentioned it there anyway. When we begin to think for ourselves, it breaks the chain the devil has on our mind. And I believe that's a fact, a big fact that um, at the end of the day, it all comes down to self-control. When we are able to manage our emotions, and we're more aware of what's going on in terms of our thoughts, then the devil can't really get over on us, because we can, just like I was just talking about a minute ago, we're just aware. We can see, okay, I'm feeling fearful. You can kind of push through the fear. So if you have a fear of public speaking, you might feel fearful, but because you're feeling fearful, it doesn't have to stop you. It doesn't have to stop you from getting up and speaking in front of a crowd. You can push past that fear, and that's essentially managing your emotions. You're aware of what's going on. You can tell that you are having a negative moment. We all have negative thoughts. I feel like, yeah, we all have negative thoughts. We don't think 100% positively, but if you can, yeah, just be more self-aware and have the self-control and be able to manage your thoughts, then you can have a way smoother life, because we are emotional by nature. We really are emotional creatures. We go through a lot of emotions throughout the day. We're happy, and then the next minute we're not feeling as happy. We're not feeling as high. Like, our emotions like fluctuate up and down. But if we are able to control our emotions, then we are powerful. And that's all I can really say. Control your emotions. Self-control. Have the ability to be self-aware, because this will get you far in life. I was saying to my brother the other day that he was saying that he procrastinates. But I was just like, whoa, hold on a second here. You are not the procrastinator. What you are is the spectator of the thoughts of procrastination. That's who you actually are. That's a high level of thinking. Like you telling me that you're a procrastinator is not true, because you having the self awareness to see that you're procrastinating shows that you are a higher being that is seeing all these um these lazier thoughts, but you're just giving in to them as you believe that it is your thoughts. But our thoughts just run wild throughout the day. We have many thoughts throughout the day, and not all of them are true. Not all of them are facts. The majority of them aren't facts. So yeah, from this lesson here, well, from this note taking session here, I just learned to be more self aware. Be more self aware, because as we're more self aware, we can then enforce self control, and that self control can create power, and it can essentially propel us to where we want to get to. But yeah, hopefully you understood. Well, you took some key points from this lesson here. I feel like this was something which I wanted to write down and get out there. So hopefully it is beneficial to you, and I'll be back soon with more videos.